There's an array of subjects and topics that we've discussed. Make sure you go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to Coach Steele's Finance Training. You know already as you jump on into the room, make sure you meet me, make sure you greet me, say hello. I want to know where you're listening in from, of course, and I appreciate everyone that takes the time out, especially their early Saturday morning, to have this conversation. We have an international audience, people listening from all over. So I'm looking forward to this conversation on today. We're talking about characteristics and attributes of wealth builders. Do you have characteristics? Do you have attributes of a wealth builder? I want to see. I want to see. We're going to go through this and evaluate it. And if you do have characteristics and attributes of a wealth builder, there are some things, there are some fruit on your tree that we should see. And if you don't have these characteristics and attributes, guess what? That's all right, because we're going to work on those things today. We're going to try to get you on the right path so that you can start displaying and showing some of those patterns, those habits, those attributes, those characteristics. So you all, as you get ready, make sure you get your popcorn ready, put on your seatbelt, turn me up in your Bluetooth, turn me up on YouTube, your headphones, whatever device you're listening in, and let's have this conversation together as a community, as a unit. Characteristics of wealth builders. How do we build wealth? Everyone has this different definition of what wealth is to them. And so you have to be able to identify, what does wealth mean to you? What does wealth have longevity? Anybody in here, when you think about wealth, do you think about longevity or do you think about short term? Those are some of the things that you need to think about as we have this conversation about characteristics and attributes of a wealth builder. We're going to go through a few of these characteristics and attributes as you all are listening to Coach Steele's Finance Training. Make sure you share, make sure you tag someone in this conversation. Often, so many times, we don't have conversations about money, but here on Coach Steele's Finance Training, we're going to open it up and have this conversation. Now, many of you that are listening, you've heard me say this scripture before, Proverbs 13:11. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle. It goes fast. Woo! But whoever gathers little by little will increase it. If you are willing to be diligent, if you're willing to pace yourself, if you're willing to play the long game, if you're willing to run the marathon instead of the sprint, you can have success with building wealth. And so these are some of the characteristics and attributes we want to talk about. True wealth builders don't rely on luck. We don't just wake up and flip a coin and hope that it's the right coin, that it's the right decision, and hope that it's the right answer. No, we don't do that. We don't just flip a coin and hope on luck. We develop habits. We develop character and disciplines that positions us, just like a chessboard, that positions us for long-term success. In that comment section, if you want long-term success when it comes to wealth building, just raise your hand. Put your hand up, the hand emoji. We want long-term success. We don't want to be successful in building wealth overnight, and then 2 weeks from now, 3 months from now, 1 year from now, all of a sudden everything is gone. We don't want that. We want that long-term success. Wealth is built from the inside before it is ever seen on the outside. And what does that mean? That means it starts with your mentality. I'm happy for everyone tuning in to Coach Steele's Finance Training. I see you all as you come in the room. Good morning to you, Mr. Timothy Scott. Good morning to you, Mr. Sherman. Good morning to my wife, Yvette Steele. Happy to have you all tuning in. Good morning to you, Shauna Johnson. As we talk about what it takes to build wealth on today and the characteristics, attributes of people who build wealth the right way. It starts on the inside. And when we say on the inside, many people aren't going to be able to see the seeds you have planted when it comes to building wealth. And so it's done behind the scenes. It's done on the inside in your mind and your heart that you've made up, which is point number one on today for my note takers. When it comes to having the ability and the characteristics and attributes of building wealth, one has got to start with your faith. Do you have confidence in yourself? Do you even have the faith? Do you even have the belief that you can do it? You need to have a high level, extreme level of faith and confidence that I can do this, that I can accomplish my goals in 2026 that I'm trying to accomplish. As y'all are tuning in to Coach Steele's Finance Trainer, we are talking about characteristics of wealth builders, what we carry with us, these attributes, these talents, these skills, these abilities, these blessings, everything we carry with us to grow wealth. So, first, you have to have faith. You got to have confidence. You got to know. You can't be wavering. You can't be undecided. You can't. You need to have more of I think I can. I think I can. You can't have more of well, it probably won't work. What if I mess up? What if I make a mistake? No, you need to believe and know that you can and that you will. You need to know that it's only a matter of time. That's the mentality that you have to have going into building wealth. Every wealth builder's journey begins with faith. There's a level of confidence. Before someone builds a business or purchases real estate or invests, they must first believe that success is possible in that business that you desire to build. As you all are tuned in to Coach Steele's Finance Training, how do you all plan on building wealth? In that comment section, just let me know. What are your plans? How do you plan on building wealth? Is it going to be through real estate? Are you going to create your own business? Are you going to have people working for you? Is it t-shirt business? What type of business is it? Is it lawn care? Are you going to make a grocery store? What is your business? How do you plan on growing wealth? What asset classes are you investing in? How do you plan on building wealth? Let's go a little bit further on today as we talk about how you must first believe. That is point number one on today. You have to first believe in yourself because faith allows you to see opportunities where other people see obstacles. See, that's why you got to carry that. This is one of the great characteristics of someone who is going to build wealth. And of course, I am live on YouTube, I'm live on Facebook, and I'm live on TikTok. And I want you all to subscribe or follow, depending on what platform that you're on. Make sure you lock in with me. We go live every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. And we want you to be a part of this community in this conversation about finances. Faith allows you to see opportunities where other people see obstacles. What does that mean? There are going to be people that will try to talk you out of accomplishing your goals and your dreams because they can't see what you see because they are operating off of what they see and no faith at all. And because they don't have the level of faith and confidence that you have, they only see obstacles. And I need you to see the opportunity and not the obstacle. Faith gives you the courage to start before you have all the answers, before you dot every I, before you cross every T, before you think everything is peachy clean and perfect. You have the confidence to get the ball rolling. In that comment section saying, I got to get the ball rolling. I need to take action. There are some things that I need to do. I need to step out. I need to have faith and confidence that if I get started, the rest of this stuff is going to fall in place. You need to have a high level of faith and confidence in yourself. Faith helps you persevere through setbacks and uncertainty. When you are in the process of building wealth, there are going to be setbacks. There are going to be uncertainty when you're trying to build this wealth, generational wealth. I see you, Sister Williams. Thank you for tuning in to Coach Steele's Finance Training on today. Wealth builders trust principles and processes rather than instant results. I want you to understand that. We look at principles and processes instead of instant results. True wealth builders, check this out. We don't want to put it in the microwave. When we're building our wealth, we want to put it in the oven. We want to put it in the oven, whatever that thing is that we're trying to grow, whatever that thing is that we're trying to build, we want to put it in the oven. And for all my bakers and people out there that cook, we want to put it on about 350. And we want to let that thing take its time and cook to get to the right temperature because we don't want to put that cake in the oven and put it on 500 or some crazy. No, it's going to burn. It's not going to bake right. It's not going to, the final product will not be what it is supposed to be. So we want to make sure we go with the right principles and processes so that when we pull it out of the oven, it looks like it's supposed to look. It is sustainable. It is marketable. It is profitable. I can make something work with what I've taken my time to build. Faith gives you the courage to begin what your eyes cannot see yet. People who bake cakes, they do all of this stirring and the ingredients and they do all of this stuff, but yet they can't see the final product while they're doing the work. There are times when you are building wealth where you are not going to be able to see the final product until it has to feel a little fire, until it has to feel a little heat, until it has to go through in the process. And as you're building wealth, guess what? There are times where you're going to have to take your hands off of the product and let the environment do what it's going to do. I'm talking about same thing when someone bakes a cake. You do all the work, you do all the mixing, you do all the measurements, you pour everything in, you let the blender work. And then there's a time when you're going to have to let go of that product, and the environment that you set your business, your opportunities, your hard work in is now going to have to do the rest of the work as you monitor, maintain, and have confidence in the work that you put forward. Sometimes you're going to have to take your hands off that thing. See, I love real estate investing because I like doing long-term real estate investing. As I get a property ready for a tenant to go in, there's a point in time where then I have to take my hands off. I have to trust my property management team. I have to trust the tenants to pay their rent on time. And then the beautiful part is, see, so many times when people are trying to build wealth, they get worried or intimidated when they have to take their hands off the product or take their hands off of whatever they've been working on, or the book that they wrote, or the shirts that you made that you need to sell, whatever it is. That is one of the best times in building wealth, when you get to take your hand off the product and let the product and your hard work that you did previously work for you. You know, I talk about making money multitask, making your money do the work so you can take your hands off and then you reap the benefits. And so that's the beauty and the benefit of entrepreneurship at times, where you get to take your hands off, put the cake in the oven, let it grow, let it bake, let it rise, do what it's supposed to do, and pull it out so that you can serve the people in a sense. Let's go a little bit further as we continue to talk about faith being a key component and characteristic when we're trying to build wealth. So let's go with number 2. Here's number 2, ladies and gentlemen, for my note takers out there on today. You need to become a researcher of your niche. People who are building wealth, people who have good characteristics and attributes when it comes to building wealth in a specific environment or in a specific area, when we're looking at assets or businesses and things like that, real estate, you name it, we become a researcher of that niche. When it comes to real estate, there's so many different ways to grow wealth when it comes to real estate, buying properties, whether it's land, whether it's commercial property, whether it's residential property, whether it's multifamily unit properties, apartment complexes. There's so many different niches that you can't just say, hey, I'm going to study. I mean, you can study all of real estate, but you need to even figure out what direction are you going in so you can get specific with that niche. Niche. There we go. That's the word. And so I want you all to think about that. Are you getting specific? Are you studying that marketplace? Are you researching those areas for that business? If you're in lawn care, are you researching the best lawnmowers that will last a long period of time, that can handle a lot of labor, that work good in heat, or whatever the case may be? If you're in lawn care, you need to figure out what type of materials you need, what type of tools you need. If you do hire help, what's the best way to hire them? Do you put them on an hourly do you pay them hourly? Do you pay them as contract work? Do you pay them per job? You need to study that area, that marketplace. That way you'll know exactly what it is you want to do and how you want to do it. So people who are going to build wealth builders out there, we become excellent researchers. We don't mind taking the time to dig a little bit deeper to find out what we need to be doing to become excellent in that field of study. When we go to negotiate, when we go to have a conversation, we want to be very knowledgeable. We want to be able to operate and have wisdom in that space we find ourselves in. So, successful people, check this out, ladies and gentlemen, successful people become students before they become experts. You should want to become a student before you become an expert. Don't just jump out there and think you're going to be an expert. Be a student. Because you're willing to be a student, you will become an expert. It will happen. So wealth builders constantly learn and improve. You're always learning. You're always a sponge. You're always trying to learn something out there. If you are in here, whether you are on YouTube, Facebook, or TikTok, make sure you subscribe to Coach Steele's Finance Training on the YouTube channel. We are building a great community out there. We study the industry. We study our customers. We study our competitors. You need to be a researcher of your niche. We also study trends, things that are happening, things that are popping. What are people looking for? We study all of that. You know, I'm in the real estate space. I like to see what areas are growing. Where's the military town? Where are people more than likely willing to rent long-term and not short-term? All of those things matter when you are studying the area that you are trying to become wealthy in. Wealth builders, we read books, we attend seminars, we go to conferences, we analyze data, we seek mentors, and check this out. We also look for people to mentor, not mentees. So we look for mentors, but we also want to mentor. I might be saying it wrong, but we look for mentees as well, because there are people that we want to pour back into because we believe in principles. We believe in pouring back into others as people pour into us. So those are some of the things I want you all to think about on today. We understand that knowledge reduces costly mistakes. I don't care what field you're in. As y'all are tuning in to Coach Steele's Finance Trainer, when you go get more knowledge, when you want to upgrade your level of intelligence in a specific area, you're going to decrease the chances that you make so many mistakes. Mistakes that you made before, you'll never make again because you have increased your level of knowledge. Mistakes become costly when you're trying to grow wealth. And so the more mistakes you avoid, the quicker you can grow your wealth. All right, let's go a little bit further. Investors will study markets before investing. Some people just want to rush and get right into investing, but then they don't study the market. And then they wonder why they struggle. They wonder why they can't build wealth. They wonder why they find themselves starting over every 2 and 3 years. Come on now. You all share this live as we are talking about what are the characteristics of a wealth builder, and what do wealth builders do? What are our attributes? What are some of the things we're doing behind the scenes before anyone can see, before the wealth is revealed to them? See, before wealth is even revealed to you, wealth builders have already made it. They have already had success. It's just them deciding to reveal what they have been doing behind the scenes. So investors study markets before investing. Business owners study customer needs. You better study your customer needs. You better know what your customer wants. Otherwise, you will be making and creating things that nobody wants or needs, and you're wasting money. The knowledge is how you get to the bag. So let's go a little bit further, ladies and gentlemen. Real estate investors research neighborhoods and cash flow. Professionals continually sharpen their skills. I want you all to know that. Check this out. Proverbs 18:15 says, "The heart of the prudent acquires knowledge." Are you acquiring knowledge? Are you seeking? Are you going to acquire? Are you going to get? Are you going to handle? Are you going to carry? Are you putting yourself in a place to acquire, to obtain knowledge? Those are some of the things that I need you to think about. This point number 2 we're talking about is how wealth builders research their niche. They become obsessed with what's going on in their niche. I need you all to become obsessed. I need you to lock in and really pay attention. Then when you become obsessed with your niche and you're really locked in on that thing, you won't waste your time doing certain things in that field that's not fruitful, that's not beneficial. You might love it, but it may not be beneficial for you to do. You might have a passion for doing certain things in that niche, but it may not make sense. So that is why you really need to study your niche. You need to study your marketplace. I see you all commenting here in the comment section, investing in my children's business and my children's business. That's what I'm talking about. Creating wealth, becoming a wealth builder. And so we got Yvette Steele says, professionals continually sharpen their skills. That's exactly it. Let's go a little bit further on here. As y'all are tuned in to Coach Steele's Finance Training, I hope and pray that this information is very beneficial for you and it is motivating you to take some of these characteristics, some of these attributes, and put your hand to the plow to improve those skills, to improve with some of these principles and concepts that I'm talking to you about on today. So we got point number 3 coming up. And I want, before we get to number 3, here's a question that I want you all to think about. How much time do you spend learning compared to scrolling social media? Check this out. How much time do you spend learning compared to scrolling social media? Am I becoming an expert or remaining a consumer? Oh, that's good right there. Are you becoming an expert, or are you positioning yourself just to be a consumer? Your income often grows in proportion to your knowledge and value. Mr. Doc says, when investing in the market, don't revenge trade. Be mindful of position size and set your stop losses, and do not blindly trade. This is true for long-term trading as well as day trading. And that's a good point right there. You know, some people, Doc, they get so caught up in the trade and whether they win or loss that they now make it a competition to fight against their losses or fight against when it didn't go well. And what they don't realize is they build up an addiction and a passion for fighting against their decisions. and it's crazy. And as y'all are listening to what I'm saying, I don't want you to get so caught up and fighting against the decisions you make when you have a loss that you're not happy about, that you forget the long-term goal and the principles and the processes that are set in place. Remember what I said about Proverbs 13 and 11. Wealth gained hastily in a rush, microwave, it will dwindle. It'll go away. But those who desire and practice good processes and principles, those who gain wealth little by little, it will increase, it will grow. And so you have to position yourself and remember your principles and remember your processes. Doc says, I spend about 3 hours a day learning. How much time do you all spend? Some people want to grow wealth in a certain niche, in a certain field, and you spend 5 minutes learning and educating yourself. You spend 10 minutes learning and educating yourself. You spend 15, 20 minutes learning and educating yourself, and you expect wealth to come from that. It cannot come from that. You need to dig in and dig deep. You need to have faith and confidence, and you need to research your niche adamantly. Now, here we go. Point number 3, ladies and gentlemen, consistency. In that comment section, I need you all to put consistency. Those that are tuned in on TikTok, leave a message in there, write consistency. My Facebookers, write consistency. My YouTubers, write consistency. You need to be consistent. What does consistent look like when it comes to wealth building? Small disciplines produce great results. Small disciplines produce great results. Wealth is rarely built with one big decision. Rarely. It can happen, but it's rarely built with one big decision. Even if you make one big decision and all of a sudden you made some money, you're still going to have to be consistent. You're still going to have to be disciplined with whatever just came in, because now you got to manage it. Now you got to maintain it. Now you got to steward it. Now you got to figure out, how do I take this and not lose it, but be consistent? And that's why Doc said, hey, even if I make money or I make an investment, I got to put stop losses in. I need to know what my cutoff is. When am I willing to say, okay, that's enough, I'm not going to lose anymore? You got to be able to maintain that thing. So wealth is rarely built through one big decision. It is built through, check this out, thousands of disciplined decisions over time. If you're into day trading, if you're just in the trading and buying stocks and things like that, like Doc mentioned, he has probably made hundreds and hundreds of the same principles and decisions over and over and over, that he has it memorized down to a T of what his strategy and what his plan is. And so that's when you know you are mastering your niche. You have researched, you've done your homework, and now you are practicing those practical skills. You are being what I call consistent. Small disciplines produce great results over a period of time. You need to make sure you're budgeting every single month. Shauna Johnson says, Mr. Doc, do you teach the fundamentals of trading, being that you have experience with it? Doc says, trade the trend that you are in, no matter how much you want to trade to go up. If technicals say otherwise, then you must pivot and trade to the downside. I had to learn that the hard way. And that's what we're talking about earlier when we said, when you get more knowledge, you make less mistakes, because mistakes can cost you. And so as you get better, those mistakes that cost you 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you won't make them again, and you can build wealth faster. And so you can build wealth more consistency over a period of time. We want consistency. We want to make sure we budget every month. Consistency. We want to save consistently every month. That is consistency. Invest regularly. Improve your skills continually. Stay committed when progress seems slow. When it looks like nothing is popping and nothing is going on, you need to stick to your processes and your principles. Stay committed when progress seems slow. These are things you got to stay on top of your game. Guys, I got multiple doors that I own, and I am consistent. I know, of course, in the beginning of the month, that's when rent comes in. My property management takes care of the books, does different things. And before the money even hit my account this month, I was calling them, hey, what does it look like? What's the projections? How much should I see hit my account? I know y'all can see the books, who paid, who didn't pay. I need to know my numbers, because I got plans and some things that I'm trying to coordinate and make sure that they fall in line when those funds hit the account. So in other words, who paid rent and who didn't, right? So now I need to know if I have any overhead, what I need to cover. And if I have extra, what am I going to do with that? I'm not going to wait for it to hit the account to start making plans. I'm consistently planning and making progress before I see the success or the fruit that is to come. What am I saying? You can consistently plan out. You can consistently budget and anticipate. And if it happens to be a little different from what you plan, then you make adjustments, ladies and gentlemen. That's all you do. You need to have financial confidence. You need to focus on long-term stability. And once again, wealth grows little by little. So make sure you take your time. Give yourself patience to grow wealth, and don't get frustrated and tired. What does Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 say? Be not weary in well-doing, for in due season you shall reap if you don't faint, if you don't give up. So you need to be consistent. Here's a question for you. What financial habits am I repeating every week? Now, when we look at those financial habits that you're repeating every week, are they proving to be fruitful? Are they helping you have success? Is it helping you push forward? Those are some of the things I want you all to think about. What habits and patterns are you doing that are going to help you reach your goal? Is it working? Do you need to make some adjustments? Are there some things you could do better and tweak? Do not be afraid to evaluate yourself, examine yourself, get some other creative criticism for other people to evaluate what you look like. And so when you do that, you open yourself up. Yes, you're going to be vulnerable, but it's okay. Receive that information that someone may give you. Examine yourself and see where you're falling short, and challenge yourself to be better. Challenge yourself to be more consistent with habits and patterns and tendencies that are going to help you get to your finish line in 2026. Guess what? Consistency beats intensity. Those of you that work out, those of you that exercise, let's say you go to the gym with somebody and it's the first day of the year. It's January 1st, 2026. You go to the gym and that person is intense. Guess what? They run 5 miles. They run 10 kgs, right? They're going. They're getting after it. And then you get to the weight room, they like put everything on the bar. They're lifting weights. They're going hard. They give it everything they got on day one. And you're just trying to pace yourself. You're stretching. You're making sure that you warm up, getting loose. You might start off walking that first mile and you might have ran the last two. You just, pacing yourself. And then that person is going hard. They doing jump rope. They doing calisthenics. They doing squats, you name it, they doing crunches. And then day two comes and they wake up and they say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't go. I can't make it to the gym. I can't do any sports. I can't exercise. I'm tired. I'm worn out. And you get up and you go to the gym and you start stretching like you did on day one. You get loose, you take your time, you go through your motions, and you feeling great, you're feeling good. Some of y'all got your pre-workout or whatever it is. You take your vitamins, your water, all of that, and you back in the gym again. You're being consistent. All of a sudden, that person that just did intensity on day one had no consistency. When it comes to wealth building, I want you to have consistent patterns and habits. Don't just come in all intense or upbeat. You go to one conference and they tell you something, because you can get excited. Growing wealth can be emotional and all of that. There's ebbs and flows in this, right? There's an emotional part of building wealth, right? And so something can go wrong and you all intense and emotional. As soon as it goes wrong, or you don't have success, or you don't sell as much as you thought you were going to sell, your family, your friends, your loved ones won't buy anything, and you thought that they were going to be the ones. Well, let me tell you a secret. Most of the time, it's going to be strangers and people that don't know you that help boost your business or that help grow your business. So, you're all intense and emotional about this, and you can fizzle out. Because it's not about intensity in your emotions. It's about being consistent, having that faith, doing your research, doing your homework. Small, faithful actions repeated over a period of time produce extraordinary results. That's something that you all need to think about. And let's go to point number 4. Let's close it up with this one, right? Because we got a lot of things that we need to do on this Saturday. As y'all are listening to Coach Steele's Finance Training, we go live every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. Make sure you go to YouTube and subscribe to Coach Steele's Finance Training. When we get to point number 4 on today, you all make sure you share the live for other people to see and enjoy this conversation about financial literacy, so that our loved ones, our friends, our family, our circle of people we're around are displaying the right characteristics of wealth building. Let me tell you a secret. If someone is not displaying the right characteristics of wealth building, then you got to be careful of who you got in your ear and why they're even allowed around your ear in the first place. If they can't help you get to where you're trying to go, and you're not pouring into them because they're trying to go somewhere, then what is their purpose? Hello, somebody. So either we're pouring into people and sowing seeds into people that are trying to go somewhere, or somebody's pouring into us. There's some reciprocation going on to help push us in the right direction where we need to be, so we can establish ourselves where we are supposed to be in the marketplace, so we can establish ourselves where we're supposed to be in life and what we've been called to do, and with the people that we're called to help. Wealth builders go against the grain. Number 4, be willing to go against the grain. That's point number 4. Be willing to do what others say they won't do. Be willing to invest in the time of the marketplace when most people are afraid and they pull back. Be willing to invest in the middle of a depression. Be willing to invest in the middle of a pandemic. Be willing to invest in something that other people say, well, I don't know about that. Have your confidence from your faith and your research and your consistency to take the necessary actions and go against the grain. Wealth builders are willing to think differently and make decisions that may not be popular to everyone else. If those decisions align with their long-term goals, if those decisions align with your long-term goals, be willing to push the button. Be willing to pull the trigger. Be willing to make the next move because you've already had the faith and the confidence. You've researched like crazy. You've done your homework. You spent the time. You've been consistent. Do not allow someone to turn you around in an instant by saying something crazy or something off the wall that doesn't make sense. You know exactly what you're getting ready to do. You should have ultimate confidence to go against the grain if everyone else is going the other way. Most people spend first and save what's left. But guess what? Wealth builders, they go against the grain. We do it backwards. We save first, we invest first, we pay ourselves first, and then we spend lastly. But when we do spend, we spend wisely. We are very strategic. We delay gratification instead of seeking instant pleasure immediately. We start being strategic. We think about how can this investment, how can this asset, how can this business pay for what I want? How can it produce the income or the opportunity to cover my pleasures? They focus on ownership instead of appearances. People who aren't trying to grow wealth, they look at how they look and don't focus on ownership. They don't focus on partnership. They don't focus on growth. It's all short term and microwave. And they get comfortable. Let me tell you something about wealth building. You get very comfortable with saying no. You learn to say no fast. Sometimes you say no before the person even get to finish what they would. No, because I already have my plans made up. I already know where my money is going. I already decided months in advance what I'm going to do with this. So this doesn't line up with the strategic plan for me to have success, then it's automatically a no. So let's go a little bit further. Be okay with having to say no to pursue even decent or good opportunities so that you can pursue better ones, so that you can pursue greater ones. You have to know your plan. So here's some examples. Driving a paid-for vehicle while investing in the difference. You can drive for a vehicle that's already paid for. There's nothing wrong with that. While investing the difference. Living below your means, starting a business while others are only talking about it, going against the grain. I'm just going to go ahead and do it while other people are still talking about it. Investing during uncertain times in uncertain markets after careful research rather than following emotions. And we talked about that earlier. What do I mean by that? Well, Romans 12:2 says it easier. Do not conform to this world. In other words, don't conform to the patterns of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so we got Tony Sherman. He is an avid knower. And what I mean by that, an avid person who is comfortable with saying no if he needs to, who has a strong no. Doc says, I even say no in Spanish, which is still no. You got to be multilingual with your no's. You don't know who might come asking, trying to throw you off your path, whether they speak Spanish, French, German, English, pidgin, you name it. Make sure you have your no. In that comment section, wherever country you're from or however you say no, write no in that comment section. Go on and give me a good no. And so questions you need to ask yourself, am I making financial decisions to impress people or building lasting wealth? Am I just trying to impress people, or am I really, truly building wealth on today? That's a good question. Where do I need the courage to be different? Where can I step up? What more can I do to speed up this process for me to be consistent? And so if you do what everyone else is doing financially, you'll often get the same results everyone else gets. Conclusion. I want you all to understand the progression of a wealth builder is intentional. It is on purpose. It is strategic. Faith gives you the vision to start, right? Starts with faith. Research gives you the knowledge to make wise decisions. We're putting it all together, 1 through 4. Make sure you share the live for somebody else to see this, for somebody else to get this deep down in their spirit. because everybody talks about how they want to grow wealth, how our communities desire to grow wealth, but we're not practicing the principles and the fundamentals to grow wealth. I can talk about budgeting, I can talk about investing, I can talk about different ways to grow wealth, and different strategies that I've had success with growing wealth, that I have generational wealth and things like that. But it starts with making the change on the inside. And that's why today I wanted to talk to you about the characteristics and attributes of wealth builders, what we carry and what we do. Faith gives you the vision to start. Research gives you the knowledge to make wise decisions. Here's point number 3. Consistency turns the knowledge into lasting results. I'm being so consistent with my knowledge and the things that I've put in place for me to do. I'm destined to get lasting results. The willingness to go against the grain allows you to stay committed to principles even when the crowd chooses shortcuts. Even when everyone decides to go the other way, you are being consistent. People will say, "You still doing that? Noah, you're still building that ark? We ain't seen a drop of rain yet, and yet you're still building. Check this out. Oh, this is good to me." Because why? Even though people couldn't see the point of the ark, Noah kept building. What are you still building even though people can't see the rain yet? What are you still building that people are still saying that doesn't make sense? I want to build something that doesn't make sense to everybody, but is so fruitful. I want to build something and build wealth, or build a business, build an opportunity, build whatever it is that everyone else is just scratching their head and say, "I don't get it. I don't get it." But the time is going to come where it's going to make so much sense. The time is going to come where it's going to be the most valuable commodity that people might possibly need. There are some of you all that some things that you're building is on the inside. It may be a book that you're writing that everybody needs. They don't know that they need it yet, but by the time you're done and that thing is published and put out, people are going to need it. I want you to start thinking about how can you go against the grain. Let me calm down because I'm getting excited. The willingness to go against the grain allows you to stay committed to principles when the crowd chooses shortcuts and to go the other way. Ladies and gentlemen, these 4 characteristics work together. Faith without the knowledge can lead to poor decisions. Knowledge without the consistency produces little progress. And consistency without courage can be derailed when the pressure to conform. But when all 4 are combined together, ladies and gentlemen, they create the foundation for lasting wealth and meaningful impact. I want you to challenge yourselves on today. I want you to evaluate yourself. Do you have the faith to pursue God's vision for your financial future? Those that are tuned in to Coach Steele's Finance Training, are you intentionally learning and growing in your field? And what daily habits are helping you build wealth? Am I willing to make unpopular financial decisions today for the greater freedom on tomorrow? Those are things you need to think about. Wealth builders are not defined by what they own. They are defined by how they think, what they practice, and the principles they refuse to compromise. They're going to stay on track. Build your wealth through your character first, and your wealth will have a stronger foundation because you built your character, your attributes, and your principles that build a strong foundation, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you tuning in to Coach Steele's Finance Training. Hopefully this has blessed each and every one of you. And remember, go to my Facebook page and support the work that we're doing in Cameroon, Africa. You can support the work that we're doing for 99 cents a month. Go to my Facebook page and then click on the subscriber option. You can click to be a subscriber, not just a friend or a follower, but you can subscribe to the Facebook page, 99 cents a month. Usually, sometimes I'll post videos and pictures to the subscribers that others don't normally get to see. But we're doing a great work in Cameroon, Africa, ladies and gentlemen. We're building churches. We're supporting orphanages and feeding and clothing people that need it. And of course, I want you all to help me in that process. As we are growing wealth, we also want to be able to give back to other people. So make sure you go to the Facebook page and become a subscriber. Click the link, set it up, 99 cents a month. That's all it is. And it doesn't go to me, it goes to Cameroon, Africa to help those that are in need. Appreciate everybody tuned in to Coach Steele's Finance Training. You've been a blessing. Some of you all appreciate your comments and your thoughts as we go through this process. Be blessed. We are out.